And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Gosia, producer of the YouTube channel Cosmic Agency, where Taygetan Pleiadian communication is shared. She is also the creator of the Space Academy Sector Earth. Gosia, welcome back. It's great to have you again.
Hello to you. Hello to all the viewers. And thank you for having me on your ever-growing show. Again, we met last time in 2021, as you just told me, no?
Yes. And my channel has grown significantly since then. And there may be a lot of new people meeting you today. So can we kind of backtrack and have you tell us about your history with your communication with the Pleiadians?
Yes. Well, this is a story that I told different audiences so many different times. But of course, this is a new audience. There are so many new people always coming on board. So let me just summarize very briefly what I am and what this is about. Well, in 2017, in December, we were introduced to the group of Taygetan Pleiadians who were at the time in the orbit of the Earth. As we all know, we are surrounded by the extraterrestrial people, because this is very important. They are extraterrestrial people, physical, and they are not angelic beings or light beings, even though, as I always say, they also exist. But here we are talking about specific physical, biological people who are off Earth, who have been born and raised and living outside of Earth. And Taygetan Pleiades are not the only ones. We are constantly surrounded by the huge variety of extraterrestrial races and ships, and they all are here for different reasons, for different purposes, different operations, different tasks. And well, and in 2017, we were introduced to the group that was on board of a Taygetan Pleiadian ship. And Taygeta, that's a star system in Pleiades. It has 4 planets, and and they are the race that has been very active here with our human affairs. Of course, not the only ones, like I said, but for example, if we go back to Billy Mayer, this is actually the same race that was in contact with Billy Mayer. And with that, I am confirming that his case was real. It's just that at some point, as we were explained, something happened, and he didn't have the communication anymore. And after that, they do not vouch for what happened after that point. But several different photos and videos that he has shared, some of them, not all, are real. So this is the same race. They have been here, of course, not the same crew. They are always in rotation. So some of these people are not the same that were in contact with Billy Mayer. But yeah, they have started communicating with a lot of people. This has to be stated as well, as I am not the only one. Robert is not the only one, because Robert is my co-worker in this. He is Spanish, and he does the videos in Spanish. I'll explain in a second what videos. And I do the videos in English and Spanish. And we are not the only ones who were given this opportunity and privilege to be introduced to them. And there were so many different people, hundreds of people around the world in different countries that they spoke to using the technology of the internet. And not the only race that is using the internet to talk to people, because this is something I always say. So our regular members will be bored with the story, but as I always have to say to the new people, the channeling is very unreliable. So it exists. Of course you can channel, of course you can telepathically connect, and this is very real. It happens. However, at some point they realized, well, now we have this technology. We can talk to the people actually using internet. We can chat with them. We can enter and flood social media, and they have been doing that at that time, especially before 2008 and 2017, the social media were flooded with the Taigetan presence. They were everywhere. But of course, they were taken as star seeds, as people who just have some knowledge here and there, present, active on forums and things like that. They were real extraterrestrial people and still are, for sure, and not just Taigetans. So channeling has been discarded for that reason as an unreliable method of passing some kind of information that would be too perhaps technical for the person, or too much. Because, for example, myself, I would not be able to trust any information that I receive technically. I would not be able to transcode that, to decode that, because my brain is somehow, as me here, is not grasping some of this more technical information. So this way, talking to them directly, and we started talking in 2017 directly almost every day about variety of different topics: scientific, technological, spiritual, especially spiritual and metaphysical topics. And we decided to share those chats, because they were mostly chats, in our videos. Both I and Robert at the time had YouTube channels. I was actually at the time doing something similar to what you're doing. I was doing interviews. I had my channel. I opened Cosmic Agency as a hobby, and I started interviewing random people, interesting people who had some knowledge on UFO matters and spirituality and paranormal, anything, ancient history, mysteries. And then, well, this communication happened, and we decided we are going to share now this information coming from this Taigetan group. And since then, on my channel, Cosmic Agency, I have over 500 videos in English, and the same amount, more or less, or maybe even more, I don't know, I stopped counting, on variety of different topics. And very important, it's not coming from me. I do not add there my own interpretation, my opinions. It's all based on word by word communication with them. Of course, I would edit out some more personal things. I would clean the conversation a little bit, but the gist, the essence of the message, that's exactly how it was said. If the conversation was in English and I'm doing the video in Spanish, well, it's my translation. So that's my only contribution, that I would translate that. So go to Cosmic Agency. We also have a website, zvaru.org, where all the videos are actually with transcripts. So you don't have to watch 500 videos about what these extraterrestrials are saying. You can actually read the transcripts, and you can go to the word search, go to, for example, look for moon or any word that interests you, and the relevant transcripts with that word will come up. So you can study that.
I think it's awesome that the ETs are contacting us through the internet. And I've been saying for quite a while now that I wish I could just get an ET on Zoom from the ship and interview them directly.
Oh,
Do you think that will ever be
dream.
possible?
No, I will explain why. Not yet, at least. Well, that has been my dream for a very long time, because as a side story here, Cosmic Agency, that name, has not always been just my YouTube channel. In 2011, I actually opened a metaphysical boutique in Barcelona, where I was living at the time, and it was called Cosmic Agency. My store was called Cosmic Agency, just in Spanish, Agencia Cósmica. And the reason behind that name was that I wanted to be some kind of a medium place where I can introduce the extraterrestrial race to the humans. I had that vision already in 2011. And of course, in that shop, it was just a spiritual metaphysical shop. I was selling crystals, stuff like that. But that was my vision, to facilitate the more direct and open communication with them. And that's what I feel we have been doing. We have been preparing this ground and telling people about how they are, normalizing the extraterrestrial subject. That's very important, because you have no idea how many myths we have to bust still in our new age conditioned mind about what the extraterrestrials are, or what they are like, or what they are supposed to be. People have all these preconceived ideas. Like, for example, one of them is that they are people, that they get sick. Oh my God, how can they get sick? They have all this technology. How is that possible? Well, they do have the technology, but not everything can be treated with the technology because they understand they are energy. And actually, a lot of these things manifest because of some kind of imbalances or deeper problems, even coming from their subconscious mind. So yes, they can get sick, and many times when they do, we dealt with many of them getting sick throughout the years. The reasons are many. They try to deal with this naturally.
I don't think you really addressed why they can't get on Zoom and join me for an interview.
Well, yes, I didn't mention that. And actually, the main reason is that they are not allowed because as a target employee race, they form part of the larger mega structure, galactic structure, and that's a galactic federation or the Galactic Federation of Planets. And that federation has its own rules, all kinds of bureaucracy around Earth, what races can and cannot do when it comes to affairs with the humans. And one of those rules states clearly that the extraterrestrial people, extraterrestrials, they cannot be seen by the humans, they cannot be heard by the humans, even though we heard the audio a few times, but it was a separate, well, it was done in a different way, sort of a other story there. But in general, it's not allowed. It's against the law, against any type of regulation, and they are not allowed to be seen to be revealing who they are when they are on Earth, because many of them, your viewers will be surprised or not, are constantly on Earth. Not just Tibetans, maybe those less actually, but one of the most numerous race that is constantly on Earth, mingling with humans, even mingling on a political level, many of them being politicians inserted there by the Galactic Federation. They are called Centauri or Alphatans, and they are like us. You wouldn't notice any difference. So they are not allowed to reveal to any humans on Earth who they are. For example, if they can be seen, for example, buying groceries or doing something, being on a train, but they wouldn't be allowed to tell the people who they are. So there are all kinds of regulations, and that's why having them on an interview, if this was allowed, I would have done it already many times, and with Robert, and they would have done it themselves as well, if that was allowed, because it's not like they are not tempted many times. I feel like many times throughout our communication, it was shown that they were tempted. Other times it was shown that they do see the risk. The humans are not ready. So there are all kinds of reasons. And also, you have to understand, if you see a normal looking person talking like me, like for example, how do you know I'm not one of them? Like, oh, because I look so normal. No, I look human. I have a skin and I talk and I have a weird, I don't know, here I'm not perfect. And that's how they are as well. So no one would believe that. People would question that. There are still too many myths, I think, in a human's mind to break through for them to be accepted for who they are. People would accept if a reptilian came speaking, okay, or a gray, but they would not accept a human-looking extraterrestrial. That's the most unbelievable type of extraterrestrial, another one that looks like you. That's why they have a lot of reservations around this. They are apprehensive.
Now you're saying they're human looking. Are they human in DNA and genetics as well, or are they just appearing human?
Yeah, they do appear human. There are some differences in. Okay, first of all, there isn't just one humanoid race. We are talking about, they told us, around 400,000 humanoid races out there, thousands, and they are all different from each other. So they have subtle or less subtle differences, genetic differences, appearances. There are some that look exactly like you, but they will be different on the inside. Then on the other side, there will be those who are totally different on the outside, maybe, but they share more of a DNA with you. So there are all kinds of differences there. Again, the genetic topic is not my strength. So we actually have a lot of videos on genetics, biology, how the human body manifests from the ether as a template, how DNA is actually just a memory. Everything that is in your DNA is a memory of everything you have been in your past. But like I said, I am not too great of an expert on this specific topic because, as I said earlier, my brain doesn't always retain all that technical information. But go to our channel and to website if you are interested in genetics. We talk about this as well.
Are any of these Taigetans having offspring with the local human population?
No, they are not compatible on that level. From what I remember, they are not even compatible with each other. Many humanoid races there between each other. Some of them are compatible, some of them are less compatible. But as I understand, I think this was mentioned already in the very beginning, 7 years ago. They are not compatible.
You said that you met them or people talked to them through message boards and things like that.
Not me. No, not me. That was them before, we had a communication with them between 2008 and 2017. They were massively active in social media. Whatever social media were active and present, existent at the time. For example, they were very active on Google Plus. I think the Google Plus doesn't exist anymore. Other races, for example, Ummo. I don't know if you've heard of Ummo race.
I haven't.
Super active. They are to do with banking, internet, all that financial stuff. That's actually Ummo race, and they are also humanoid, and they have also been present in the social media. I don't know the status now. So not on message boards myself. For me, with us, it's a direct chat. It's not an email. It's not a WhatsApp. It's a chat, like before we had Skype or MSN, something like that.
Like a
just
chat
chatting.
room.
Yeah, like a chat room, and we just chat.
Now, did you contact them or was it the opposite?
No, we were introduced by another lady who was in contact with them at the time, okay? Because like I said, they were in contact with hundreds of people before us, before 2017. So that lady who was in contact with them before us met Robert and then got introduced to me, and that's how it went. We were introduced to them through her. She was actually even present, that older lady, in our initial conversations with them.
Let's say if one of them contacted me via email and wanted to have connection with me, how would I know that this is really a Taigetan or just somebody pranking me?
That's the problem, because when Robert, because he was the first one who was introduced to the older lady and to them, when he told me about this in the beginning, I didn't believe it, because I've already heard so many stories. Everybody's talking to ETs, everybody's a contactee, and this and that, and everybody's channeling, and everybody's something, no? You know how it is. So I am not so naive. I am not actually so open. I am more practical and skeptical when it comes to this. It's like, of course, I know that they're extraterrestrials. I know they talk. I know this and that. But at the same time, I also know there's so much deception. So I'm careful. You know, I have my, I'm alert. I'm watchful. I'm on guard. So I didn't believe it when Robert told me, and I was like, no, yeah, this is just one of the stories, you know. Okay, but then I started talking to the French lady because she's French, older lady, and talking to her on audio for several months, for many hours, when she was explaining this to me. Well, I understood that this is what it is, and then she introduced me to one of them, and that was Zvaru. That was the 17-year-old Taigetan girl. She was our main contact at the time. But now, going back to your question specifically, through the email, there is no way of knowing. You see, I don't even know that I would have accepted that if I wasn't introduced by this older lady. she was like this kind of an entry point to me, that because she was already in contact with them for a year, and she vouched for this, and we kind of trusted her intelligence at this point. And I don't know if I would have if someone just randomly emailed me. In fact, there are a lot of people who say this and that. Oh, I am this and I am that. I honestly, I do not follow through with that. And maybe there are some real extraterrestrial people whom I am missing out on. I don't know, but it's just the way it is. In our case, it was by the introduction of through another person.
What are some of the other myths about ETs that need to be busted?
Okay. There's a lot of myths. Well, first of all, about them being etheric. So a lot of people think they are angelic, androgynous. For example, they present the extraterrestrial people as these androgynous, beautiful people, who don't, it's like androgynous, like between male and a female, some kind of a union of masculinity and femininity. Well, with the Taigetan society, it's totally opposite. They are very defined in their genders. A woman is a woman, man is a man, and you can tell. Their features are very, very strongly defined. There are other Pleiadians who are like that, more androgynous. They are called Solatians. And they are a different race. They are more white, and they have white hair, and they are your typical elfic-looking Pleiadians. But I don't talk to those. I don't know anything about those. They are more like that, androgynous. But the Taigetans and a lot of other ET races, they are very, very defined in their gender. So that's one thing. Another huge one, love and light. They are not just love and light, and there isn't just love and light outside Earth. This is so important. People imagine that we are going through some kind of an ascension and we're going to leave all our problems behind and we are just going to be happy and living in this beautiful, colorful existence. And yes, a lot of the planets out there do have that kind of existence, but there's a lot of problems there as well. There's a lot of problems within the Federation. It's not all just beautiful and we ascend and we just get medpods and wow, it's just happiness. It's not love and light. And the Taigetans as well are not just these beautiful and loving creatures who just talk about love all day. We are very much not like that. And I say we, now I spilled maybe something here because I do associate myself with them because and they told me I am actually a Taigetan myself, a Taigetan starseed. So before I met them, I have always sensed that I do not resonate with this whole just love and light, new agey ideas. And then I was thinking, well, I cannot be Pleiadian myself because I'm not like that. I see all these people, just beautiful and flowing and Pleiadians and all that. And I'm like, okay, well, this is not my race because I'm not like that. I can be, tough. I can wear black boots and military clothes and fight, they have that kind of a attitude and listen to hard rock. And, I'm not just that kind of a new agey person. So when I met them, I discovered that, wow, this is amazing. They are like me. They are exactly like me. Many of them actually do like harder music. You'll be surprised. They do like black clothes. Zvaru actually used to wear black boots, and they also have, on some occasions, they wear capes. They have like this ornamental cape, and Zvaru used to say, Zvaru used to have a black one. So, so that was one of the myths that I was happy about when I discovered that. Wow, I felt in resonance with this group and with these people. As I said about getting sick, that they are just perfectly idyllic existence when they do not experience any problems. They do have sickness. They do go to the bathroom. They have depression even. They are even more emotional on many levels than humans. More dramatic, more intense, everything. So they have emotional problems as well. That existence outside Earth is not problem-free. There are a lot of other myths. I actually wanted to make a video about the myths. None of them comes to my mind now, but there are a lot of other ones.
I think
about the Galactic Federation. About the Galactic Federation, that's a huge one too. Let me just finish with this one. That there's a lot of stories around them being saviors, being all these benevolent organization that is just there to help liberate humanity. And we have been busting that myth for years already, for years, that it's not like that. It's not as easy. It's not so black and white. That this organization is shady, that this organization has many levels, many factions, many layers. It's not so just wow, they are just beautiful beings who are here to assist us. There are so many agendas within the federation and so many dark interests, and that's another myth that we have been trying to break.
Maybe one of the myths is that if they have the technology to be able to get here, then people will think that equals spiritual technology, and they're going to be more angelic-like and highly evolved beings. But if you look at us, our technology from, let's say, 1,000 years ago, we're a lot more advanced in technology, but spiritually we're kind of the same.
Exactly. Well, in the beginning, I remember there was something mentioned about. Yeah, I don't remember exactly. I'll have to look at the transcripts. There's just so much information there in the transcripts that you can I don't know how it was said. I don't want to now change that information, but something that you cannot develop super high interstellar maybe technology if your spiritual understanding is not at the par or not at the same level. Because in order to reach, for example, supraluminar travel. Time travel, for example, you need to be able to understand those higher metaphysical concepts. But still, understanding metaphysical concepts, it's not exactly a spirituality, you as a person. It's still kind of scientific in a way. So many interstellar races who have developed interstellar travel capacity, they are not super benevolent, and there are many races. You'll be surprised to hear that there is a race called shadow people. Shadow people, as we were told, they are actually an interstellar race, but they are kind of between the physical and the astral. Even though on the other side they are saying everything is astral, but that's another metaphysical concept. The shadow people exist between the astral and the physical, but they are biological, but they will not be seen as that by us. Like they will be just seen as a shadow, and they are a real physical in their realm beings who actually travel by ships, and they come from other planets, other realms, to kind of take advantage of the fact that many races will not perceive them. And they like to take advantage and leech onto them. So they are not very advanced spiritually race, but as you see, they are interstellar. So that doesn't always go hand in hand.
Can you share with us some of the other rules of the Prime Directive?
Well, some of the most principal rules would be to not be able to introduce any technology that is beyond the natural development of the planet, which I'm saying natural because this is so hypocritical, because our development is not natural. There have been a lot of interferences throughout the year, throughout the centuries, coming from the negative and the positive. There's all kinds of treaties and cooperations going on with the non-human cabal and the Federation, where the technologies are being transferred back, so that's why I'm laughing, and Targetans are laughing about this whole Federation obsession about the Prime Directive, because they know very well, the Federation, that it's been broken too many times. They are being hypocritical. They demand they require the obedience to the Prime Directive from one race, like Targetans, but then they go and behind everybody's back, they do treaties with people on Earth, and they provide all kinds of technologies, and they allow regressive races to provide the technology and to introduce all these different strange things. So that's one of the rules, not introduction of a technology, not communicating with the citizens of the planet with any technical means that are beyond the natural evolution of the planet. And that's why we have the internet. That's why they are communicating through the internet, because this is a technology that we have. So they gathered, okay, well, that's something we can do.
Do you think they want us to join the Federation and want us to have open disclosure and be walking among us and be one big happy family?
But when you say they, who are you referring to?
The Taigetans?
Okay, well, again, okay. As much as we have factions and points of view within the Federation itself, we also have factions and points of view within the Taigetan society as well. You can even have points of view on, within the same group of the same crew. For a very long time, they were only 30 of them on the ship. There was a very small group because they were very afraid of infiltration. And they were very, very safeguarding themselves. And within that group, they had different points of view about different topics, about almost everything. So it's a very difficult task for me to summarize what they would want, because it would depend on this person, that person. But in general, that topic is that question cannot be answered this way, because I will have to explain how the Federation views the humanity and how they view the humans. And we are not as some sort of a separate race that is supposed to be joining anybody. We are not like they would see Andromedans or Arcturians, who are the primary race, primary meaning manifested itself from the source, is just there. They perceive us as a secondary race, meaning, oh yeah, this is very complicated now and deep, and I should have prepared myself for this topic. Secondary race meaning a race that is a sort of a product of a primary race. And with that, I mean that we have had on planet Earth, okay, we are not the product of them, but they have not created us, because we exist throughout the universe. The humans exist throughout the universe. But the way that we are at, the mind that the state that we are at, that was artificially produced. The mental state that we are at and understanding of reality, how we were driven to this perception of reality, and how actually then it even changes our genetics, because the consciousness and the perception changes, the genetics changes our bodies, our templates. With mind control, we were driven to certain beliefs, and that's kind of put us in as a secondary now creation. So it cannot be answered yes or no if the Galactic Federation wants us. It's a very complicated subject that would require several hours of explanation here.
Well, since humans are spread out through the galaxy, how did we wind up here?
Okay, very interesting question. How did we wind up? Well, we are everywhere. We are spread out throughout the galaxies and other galaxies, and who knows what's behind other galaxies. It all happened during the expansion times, supposed Illyrian expansion times, when the Illyrians, that's our main template, Illyrians, we have been supposedly under a threat from the reptilians and Orions and all that. That's part of the Orion Wars. And we went spreading and escaping to other planets and looking for other habitats and other environments where we can be. And that was one of the ways that actually Taigetans, Pleiadians, ended up in Taigeta. That was also a result of those expansion. But now, specifically on Earth, I am not sure. I am not even sure if that was ever specifically mentioned, because it's such an ancient stuff. I don't even know if they themselves know 100%. Like, I know that we have not been created. We have not been created on Earth or anything like that. how did we wind up here specifically?
We're not a product of evolution on this planet.
No, no, no. We are not a product of evolution in that sense, as our bodily template, but our mindset, a lot of these matrixed ideas that we are as a society, there is a sort of evolution, you could say, but the mental evolution, how we have been programmed century by century by the negatives, by the regressive, to believe certain things, to believe certain norms and ideas. We are under this artificial reality here. So that we have been artificially guided, and that's a sort of evolution, but it's not natural, of course. We have been manipulated. So that's the problem here. It's not that it wasn't a natural flow of affairs. But yeah, sorry, I don't have the exact answer to that question. How did we wind up here? I know there are so many theories about this, and it goes all the way to the ancient times. And I think it goes, the different groups used to come and go all the time. So it wasn't like the first original seed, when the first time a human being stepped on Earth. I think it's just too ancient, and I think it has been in rotation all the time, all these different ancient civilizations coming and going, and even groups. Sometimes you could even have one crew coming and stepping and doing some kind of exploration. This is too ancient.
With the crew that you were in contact with, what was their mission here?
Okay, several layers again of the mission. One of the mission was to watch what's happening on Earth, to watch over the star seeds, because one of their missions of not just Tagetans but all of the different races is to monitor their star seeds. They're actually there to be placing them, through the immersion programs, and the monitors, be there as their kind of a air support. So that's one of the things, and Tagetan specifically was to, but that's more in a recent years, was to observe what the Cabal is doing, what the Federation is doing, and try to counteract some of these negative actions. A lot of things are happening always behind the scenes that we do not know, but trying to fix and help somehow assist with the problem here on Earth in whatever way they can. And they are one of the more active ones, I would say, because there are a lot of extraterrestrial races who are here, watchful, observing, but they don't get involved. You will never hear from them. Well, just because you never hear from them doesn't mean they're not involved, but many of them you will not hear from, and they are not involved. They are just observing and watching, studying, analyzing. There's just all kinds of purposes. Tagetans are also trying to fix the situation right now with the Earth Cabal specifically, because as I understand, it also affects them. And now this is going into the shady politics here, and this has to do with the Cabal specifically being interested in the Tagetan Nordic Pleiadian society. This even goes back to Hitler, his obsession with Aldebaran. That Aldebaran is actually a Tagetan colony. It's actually one only true colony that the Tagetan have outside of the Tagetan system. And this goes all the way back. And one of the things that the audience needs to be aware of, and that's also one of the myths, is that the Cabal and the Matrix extends outside Earth. It's not just contained on Earth. It's mostly contained on Earth, but there are many layers that extend. And the Cabal, the human Cabal, has these ambitions, always has. Goes back to Aldebaran and Hitler's ideas to get out and colonize other planets and all that. It has to do with a secret space program as well. But one of their ambition is to go out there and conquer, infiltrate Taygeta as well. They want their tentacles outside space. Okay, it's not just contained on Earth, even though most of it is, like I said, but it has to do with Mars, has to do with Venus, all these secret space programs, operations. They do have their ambitions to infiltrate Taygeta, and they have been in cooperation with some Taigetan operatives themselves. And that's why I said it's not so black and white outside. It's not just that you are outside and automatically everybody is peaceful and loving and beautiful and so spiritual. There are even rotten apples outside Earth. And even, I will admit that, even within this Taigetan society. And we have been explained this for many years, how there is this faction of Taigetan people, let's say, with their own interests, their own ideas, and in cooperation with the Earth Cabal, and how they want Taygeta. They want Taygeta, and not only that, they want dominance, and the world is not enough for them, as was one of the quotes from them themselves.
You talked about the Matrix twice. Are you saying that we're living in a simulation?
Well, it depends how you view this. How do you view simulation?
Kind of like the Matrix. Is this realm not really real in a sense? Like we're just here having an experience in this digital world with our consciousness.
There are different layers to this. From the most metaphysical level, everything is a matrix. Matrix meaning just physicality, world of ideas, because everything is mind, everything is manifested through mind, everything is just astral, as they would say, and there's nothing but consciousness. So it's all matrix because we are all playing within our own simulation, mental simulation. So I would call that, they would call that original matrix, meaning that's like, just life, because it's all just manifested through the mind on the higher metaphysical level. And I'm showing the cup because I'm manifesting this cup. This is just, a bundle of energy, and I'm decoding it in a certain way. So in that way, I'm decoding that specific matrix of molecules to be something that I call a cup. So in that sense, we are always living in a matrix, and so are they. But now I'm referring to the matrix as on Earth as an artificial structure, a system of beliefs that we have been imposed on by the regressives, by the negatives, by the ones who are in power and who are feeding us these different fake beliefs, like we are the only ones in the universe, there's no life outside Earth. Well, this is the matrix belief. Matrix meaning a false idea system, a false belief system. So that would be matrix. Also, if you're referring to that, matrix like in the movie that you are in the not real world, well, not necessarily. It's all real if your mind perceives it as real, because it's the mind that makes it real. So in a way, even in that movie, that world was still real for their mind. So I'm saying that it depends on the perspective from where you're asking the question. From the mental level, it was real for them because they were experiencing it, they were feeling it. And what you experience and what you feel, that's reality. Because what is reality is what your mind makes of whatever you're perceiving. But in that sense, no, it's not like we can go and call ourselves out and digitally go somewhere else, like in the movie. However, what's similar to the movie is that they have this immersion program, and that's what I am in, I was told. And in that immersion program, your body is actually kind of like in the Matrix movie, in that sense, like in the Avatar. Your body is in the immersion pod, is like a hibernation capsule, and you are immersed in these liquids, and then you go to sleep, you're immersing yourself, and your consciousness is rewired to the avatar human person on Earth. And that's how many of these extraterrestrials are experiencing life on Earth, through the immersion program. So they are here experiencing this reality through this body. It's what's real for them. My experience makes it real for me. But my original body is actually in the immersion pod, even thousands of light years away, because the distance doesn't matter. And I'm in one of those pods, I was told. So what's real? Is this real for me? Is it not? Well, for me, it's real because I'm here. I am perceiving through here. It doesn't matter where my body is; it's where your perception is. My perception right now is seeing through Gosia. I am seeing through here. So this is my reality. This is what's real to me. And even if I wake up there in the pod, because what happens when you die, if you are in the immersion, you wake up in the pod. Well, I'm still taking this experience with me as a real experience. It wasn't just a simulation, so to speak. It was a real memory. However, just to finish off about the topic on the simulation, just to spice it up, a lot of things can be actually sort of technologically, digitally inserted here through the matrix with their technology into our reality. And that goes into the understanding of reality according to numerical values. And they have that technology, they have that understanding. Everything is numerical values. So this cup is a numerical value, this location is a numerical value, and they can insert objects, even events, into this specific location using their technology of understanding the science of numerical values. And we have deep videos on that. So in that sense, simulation, yes, certain things could be stimulated into this reality.
Are all star seeds ETs like you, that their bodies are in an immersion pod somewhere else?
No, not all. It is one of the very popular ways of coming in because it kind of secures your exit. It means that you die, like most likely you're going to wake up where you came from. So you are not like endangering yourself being lost somewhere in the ether after you die, or being trapped by the matrix on Earth, because that can also happen. That being trapped, I mean, into the reincarnation cycle of the Earth, because many of these ideas here on Earth are very sticky. They are very contagious, and you forget, and there's a veil of forgetfulness. So that can cause you to reincarnate back into the Earth matrix system instead of going back where you came from. So immersion kind of, not always, guarantees your return home, but not always, because your soul can still override that, as I understand. And the matrix can even still consume you, even if you are in a matrix. But not all star seeds. Some star seeds, many of them just come directly from source, as we say, which means they die as an Arcturian and then they just come here as a human.
When I had you on back in 2021, you were the first person that ever mentioned the existence of background people to me, which was really shocking. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I remember that I was telling you some things, and I do remember that you were not aware of some of these phenomena. Like, for example, backdrop people. Yeah, the people who are supposedly without any soul, without any essence. They are just matrix backdrop people, NPCs who are just part of your background, part of your program, meaning, you're in the end, it's your mind that creates the program. It's you. You are the creator. So you are creating all these different game characters and objects. You can play with this. Like yesterday I was trying to manifest in my matrix something small, like a pink sock on the way to somewhere, to the forest or something like that. So you can, all these things are elements of your so-called simulation, and this also refers to the people. But that doesn't mean, very important, that you can just go around mistreating people. Okay, just treat them like they don't exist, because we don't know who is who. This is very important. Yes, there are people who are just empty, sort of inside. However, this is very important. They can become real. They can acquire souls by the entry for example, over extraterrestrial or non-extraterrestrial, some higher spiritual being who walks into that organic portal, as they are called as well, organic portals, and they can become real. And that's when you have sudden awakening, for example, in many people who before were not interested in anything at all. For example, they had an accident. That happens during accidents or some kind of a very difficult life situation. And suddenly they have the awakening. This happens many times. Many times, for example, that will be your topic, during the near-death experiences, this also happens, that the person has that experience and something happens at that point, and they can actually, they can have some kind of an agreement with some other soul somewhere outside, extraterrestrial or non-physical being, and that person can then occupy that body from that point on. Or it could be an exchange. One person leaves, another person gets out, comes in. The organic portal, the non-drop backdrop people can also be used by the regressive beings, and that's also very important. So many times, a lot of these backdrop people are even less than nothing. They are like little demons walking around because these lower astral entities are using these people to operate through the physical. And that's reality. And we have been explained this by the Taigetans and our friends up there as well in detail.
What does it mean to be a 5D person?
Okay, a 5D person. We have a separate video on that, on what it means to be a 5D person. Well, this is a good question because another myth. Good, you see, densities, 3D, 5D. This is like, wow, we are in the 3D and we are moving on some kind of a 5D existence. Well, yes, but not as some kind of an external event coming our way. The event, as they call it, that something is coming, something is happening, some kind of unveiling will happen. And then as a collective, suddenly we will be some kind of a 5D Earth. Well, it is happening this way and not, but it is happening this way, meaning that it's happening to us first individually. So as a person, you yourself as an individual, no matter where you are, on Earth or not on Earth, you can be a 5D and 7D and whatever D you want, because it's all just a range of frequencies. And why limit yourself to just that 3? Planet Earth is a 3D. No, planet Earth is whatever you want it to be. Of course, there are all kinds of constrictions and restrictions and limitations and manipulations, but that's a kind of a challenge for the soul as well. That many souls come for that. So going back to your question, you can be a 5D or whatever person anywhere you want. And that means simply, maybe not so simply, in my understanding, is to be able to, well, first, include a lot and integrate a lot of different types of perceptions. So you are expanding into other ways of perceiving reality. And as you expand in your frequency, and your frequency changes and you shift. And that's when you become more of an integrated, more activated person in general. So for me, that's inclusive of different points of view, even though when they are contradictory, being able to be to have this holistic approach. So not closed into one specific dogma, being, like I said, being able to integrate more as that expands you. Okay, for me, it's also to do with the ethical integrity and ethical structure of the person. Even though in the end, the universe doesn't understand good and evil, this is all duality that just exists here, sort of, and out there as well. But still having some sort of ethical framework and spiritual framework by which to move through life, and being able to transcend different types of frequencies and emotions. That as well, I would say, to have an emotional a control and emotional frame where you can always you can always shift through anything that can happen, because then up there they can have difficult times and emotions, but it's how you move through that, how you deal with that, how you move yourself through that experience, to always try to elevate yourself through negative experiences. So to have that emotional intelligence and a mental strength to be able to approach difficult situations. So in this, more generic terms, to always try to be able to have high frequency and know how to be appreciative and happy and humble and have fun. The high frequency, is to be able to have fun and to be able to create and to be able to be positive. Even though we all have the down moments, but like I said, it's about that strength to be able to move through that.
What does that really mean, raising your frequency? Is that like becoming a good person, becoming more honest, raising your awareness? Are you more positive? What does that really mean?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And again, a lot of people just keep, shuffling around and keep using. But yeah, what is it exactly? Well, like I said, for me, like I told you about being able to integrate and include and expand my perception and expand more understandings of reality. That I feel it does raise my frequency, because then, my vibration is able to include all these other ranges of perception. So including other ranges of perception, I feel that raises my overall vibration, my overall being. I become larger than how I was a moment before I included that. So it's just expansion. For me, it's expansion and learning, integrating more and more. So that's one thing. And simple things like what raises my frequency is to engage with life in a positive way. So engaging with any creative task or idea or appreciation, for example, I think what raises our vibration is anytime our energy shifts towards more positive and noble ideas. And that will also have to be defined. And that's another story. It's going to be different for everybody. But anything that you feel is raising your attention towards more pure and clean and noble, honest, authentic, fun, creative, uplifting ideas, any kind of activity that does that, well, that would raise your overall vibration as a being, because it's those lower emotions. It's about the emotional state. It's about creating some kind of an emotion within you that is uplifting. And all these emotions like anger and sadness, you can feel that when you experience that it's dragging and it's becoming so heavy. So I believe that's when your frequency lowers and you shrink.
It makes sense. And just to kind of get back to what I said in the beginning of the podcast, in my opinion, raising your frequency is independent of technological advancements. Because if there are bad ETs out there doing malevolent things, they may have great technological advancements, but they're still low frequency.
Exactly. And that happens. And we see that even within the Federation itself. Many Federation races super technologically advanced, but their intentions are dark, are not transparent, are not benevolent toward other beings, at least from our perspective, from the perspective of the creatures that they are trying to use, because that's what's happening. So yeah, independence of thought. It's interesting how everybody will always define that in their own way. Also fun. I know it maybe sounds cliche, but like fun activities you can really feel like you are lighter in that moment. You are lighter, and you are lighter spirited, and you just shine more. You can feel it in your being. So it's just a matter of finding whatever gives you that fun, relaxed moment.
And the perception of time disappears.
Oh, yes. That's when the perception of time changes as well. Very much related. We have big videos on topic of time travel, what is time, how it relates to the consciousness. Consciousness time is consciousness. It doesn't exist outside of the parameters of your own self-observing awareness. Anyway, that's another topic.
Well, besides the Cosmic Agency YouTube channel,
Oh, yes.
you now have Space Academy Sector Earth.
Yes.
What is that?
Thank you for bringing it up, because I was forgetting that already. And this is a very important project that I just started about a year ago. I'm very slow doing the videos there because they take a lot of time. Okay, Space Academy Sector Earth, I came up with this idea of presenting all these different topics that I present in Cosmic Agency throughout the years, maybe in a less organized way, in a new format, in a more coordinated and methodical, organized manner. So the fun part of it is that I am sort of like in a space academy, and I'm in a spaceship. So I have a studio that is designed by the guy who designs this for me, Alec. Thank you very much, by the way. And he creates these classes as sort of, I am in this spaceship environment, and I am welcoming the cadets, and I'm teaching them about all these different subjects. So I am presenting everything that is on space, on Cosmic Agency, but from the beginning, as if I am giving this to the newcomers, people who are not yet immersed in these topics, because every one of us, we already know a lot of this stuff. And we have been studying this for a long time, but there is still a lot of matrix, so-called matrix people who are not necessarily matrix. They are kind of waking up, but not really there yet, like in the middle somewhere, like listening with one ear. And they maybe would be interested to understand this, but they come into our circles, to the communities, and they are like bombarded and overwhelmed with a lots of information coming from everybody. Everybody has their narrative and their stories and this and that. So I'm trying to present these classes for those types of people, like from the beginning. What is matrix? What is the soul? What is the cabal? Who controls the earth? Who this and that, like through all these different subjects in a very simple way. And it's in a fun way, because it's like I'm teaching on a spaceship. So it's called Space Academy Sector Earth. And why this name? Because they, on planets there in Taiketa, for example, they have their own academies. They all have navigation academies where they teach space travel and all this space stuff, and they go and learn. So this is kind of like a node of that kind of galactic academy, but on Earth, Space Academy Sector Earth, for the Earth humans. And I have this in French, and I have this in Spanish myself.
So did you physically build some sort of studio that you're in that looks...
No, it's all digital. It's
all digital.
Alex makes this digitally, but the way he makes it, it looks so realistic, as if I'm really there. It's really cool.
I was looking at some rooms the other day, and I wish I could build a physical room here that looked like I was on a spaceship.
Yeah, that's my store, Cosmic Agency. If I showed you the picture, the one that I had in Barcelona in 2011, I designed it as a spaceship. I had a guy come in and renovate the space for me. It was like a Stargate entry with a rounded walls, and it was like a spaceship. Yeah, it would be really cool.
Real quick, who are the controllers of the Earth?
The ultimate controllers of the Earth, so to speak, would be the Galactic Federation. I go through this in the video. Just my last video on Space Academy is about the controllers of the Earth. I go through different layers because it goes through the Earth Cabal, the politicians, shadow government, deep state, and then we have secret societies. The secret societies that are deeper than other secret societies, and others that are deeper. And then we have secret societies that talk to non-human regressive races. And then we have others, and then we have, it goes on and on and on until we reach the Galactic Federation. And the Galactic Federation, as we have said throughout the years, are the absolute top managers of the planet Earth. However, there's a twist. Metaphysically speaking, we are the ones that control everything. Us, the humans, the creators of the reality and of this matrix. So again, this could be viewed from different perspectives. I haven't reached that part yet in my Space Academy where I talk about us as being the ultimate controllers.
Well, if people want to find out more about the Academy, is it a YouTube channel or
Yes.
a website?
I don't have a website yet. I want to have a website, but I don't have it yet. For now, it's Space Academy Sector Earth as a YouTube channel.
Well, if people have questions, should they just leave them as comments in your videos?
Yes, of course. Also, I publish the transcripts of Space Academy videos on our main website, zvaru.org. There's a section there, Space Academy, and there you can see the transcripts, because everything we do, we publish the transcripts. So this way, some people who want to read, they can read instead of watching a video.
Are you aware of anything that's coming in our near future, like disclosure or some big event or something else within the next year?
That's what I've been hearing that people are talking about, the event, as if some kind of, it's called the event, like it's coming. Mm-hmm. And we've been hearing this for many years. And what I always say that we are that event, we have to take control of what's happening and not just sit and wait. This is very important. We have to embody that 5D world that we want to manifest, because that's the only way it will. It's about manifestation and generating that reality, printing that out of that some kind of a etheric, template where it already exists, and just making it appear. But we are the ones. So there's no waiting. About the disclosures, it's been going on for many years. It's a complicated subject because, there's a lot of agenda still on the table by the cabal, like the blue beams and false alien invasions and all that. It's all intertwined there with the possible disclosures. Are the disclosures really the disclosures, or are they really more like a directed method of something, to again draw our attention towards something the controllers want? From my experience with the Targeters is that they have not been ready to do any official disclosures. There was one moment in 2001 when they had some ideas about how to get involved and try to influence things from behind more directly. I don't want to now say the details, but it failed. But it's never going to be, it's never, I don't want to say never. They haven't been interested in anything direct with the people. I'm just talking about the Taigetans that I know. I also have to specify this, and this is this is important. I don't have a communication right now. And we haven't had a communication for about a year, so I don't know if anything changed with that with that regard, because they are very dynamic. They are always changing their plans and ideas, and maybe something has changed. The reasons why we don't have the communication, that's another story. And as we discussed before, we don't want to get into that right now. So let's leave that for now. But yeah, the disclosures, I hope so, but I am not in the position to fully trust what's coming, first of all, from the official authorities, not at all. Don't trust anything that is coming from the official authorities, even when it seems nice. That's what we were told specifically. So any of the disclosures coming from that side of the society, I don't think it has any benevolent intentions. Who knows? I don't want to say 100%, but that's the position that we have right now about the official disclosures. But of course, and also everything, a lot of things are pointing to the possible false alien invasion that they have been planning for a while too. The controllers, they want to play that card as well at some point. Probably, maybe. There's a lot of testing they are doing on top with that, and that's why we see a lot of things to do with the ETs, supposedly, like even those drones that you mentioned last year, a lot of things. It could have a lot to do with testing public's reactions, what kind of theories they come up with about the subject, you know. They are playing with the public many times. People are not aware of it, but they're happy, they're excited, they want the disclosure. I don't trust the official disclosures.
Well, Gosia, thank you for coming back and being my guest again. Let's not wait 4 years for the next time.
That's true. Yes, let's not. However, times it just goes so fast. Like you think it's been 1 year and 4 years passed. You know, it goes crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again, Jeff. Until the next time, and thank you all the viewers for watching and for having patience to listen to my stories.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.